It's not uncommon for actors who spend so much time together working on film and television projects to form friendships with their co-workers, much in the same way that you or I would in our everyday jobs. So stay tuned and don't go away, because two Stranger Things actors, Keery and Joseph Quinn, have bonded for life and are keeping their friendship strong. First up, just how close is the cast of Netflix's hottest show? You're about to find out. In the hit series Stranger Things, actor Keery lights up the screen as Steve Harrington, and actor Joseph Quinn as Eddie Munson. Keery and Quinn are two of Stranger Things fan favorites because they've done such an outstanding job of bringing these characters to life. Fans could barely breathe during season 4 because they were so afraid that Harrington was going to die. And believe it or not, Quinn's fans still haven't gotten over the fact that Munson is dead, and tears are still being shed long after his demise. Some cast members have formed friendships with one another, but nothing compares to the real-life bromance that developed between Keery and Quinn. In a recent interview, Keery revealed that he and Quinn continue to hang out, and he spoke of the bond that they formed, saying, "Be there for life for sure." And because Keery and Quinn are also talented musicians, many fans are hoping that some sort of collaboration will happen in the future. In fact, during the same interview, Keery was asked if there might be a collaboration at some point, and he responded enthusiastically, saying that he'd definitely be up for it. Although the characters Steve and Eddie didn't really get along at the beginning of season 4, they later developed a mutual respect for one another. The biggest factor that prevented them from getting along is that each was jealous of the other's relationship with Dustin. Many believe that had Eddie not died, he and Steve would have developed a much stronger relationship. Next up, how did the directors of Stranger Things deal with an aging cast? Dealing with an aging cast of teens was problematic for Stranger Things directors, to say the least. Actor Noah Schnapp, who plays Will Byers, said directors weren't thrilled about their young cast aging past the ages of the characters depicted in the show. Schnapp was born in October of 2004, so he's still only 17 years old. In real life, Schnapp experienced puberty before his character Will did, and this led to some anxiety on set. Schnapp said, "It was the peak time of change and puberty and growing up, and just everything was changing with all of us, and the directors were just not loving it." Of course, Schnapp isn't alone in this. His co-stars Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Caleb McLaughlin, and Gaten Matarazzo started the series when they were young as well, and all have now aged past their characters. In season 4, much of the crew played characters that were roughly 14 years old, and today the actors playing them are between 17 and 20 years old. So clearly, directors have a problem on their hands. Thankfully, the problem can be solved with a fairly simple solution. Ross Duffer, who created the series with his brother Matt Duffer, recently revealed that he was certain the series would do a time jump in the 5th and final season, given how much the cast members have aged. Up next, did producers really ask Noah Schnapp to speak in a higher tone because of puberty? You bet. As we mentioned just moments ago, cast member puberty was problematic for the creators of Stranger Things. But with Noah Schnapp, they really had to get creative and even went so far as asking Schnapp to speak in a higher tone while in character. Schnapp revealed that at one point he was actually asked to change the pitch of his voice to sound younger. In a recent interview, Schnapp went into detail about an exchange he had with a producer, and judging by the way he describes it, it must have been an awkward exchange. Schnapp said, "One of the producers came up to me and said, 'Noah, is there any way you could just speak in a higher tone and just slouch a little bit? Like, we need you to keep that season 1 innocence that you had.'" Schnapp responded to the producer by saying, "I don't know what to tell you. My voice is dropping. I don't sound young anymore." Despite having these issues, it's clear that Schnapp thoroughly enjoyed himself during season 4. According to Schnapp, season 4 also affected him more deeply than any other season. Schnapp opened up about season 4 and explained, "It was very different for me than what I'm used to, just because it's always been more of the supernatural struggles and dealing with the upside down and the monster. And this season was just a very real kind of season for Will, exploring his personal issues and struggling with his identity and finding himself and kind of growing up." Stay tuned and don't go away, because we're about to bring you the latest Stranger Things news. Be sure to watch until the end, because we're revealing which Stranger Things star decided to get a cool summer job. Next up, what's going to happen to Max Mayfield? Let's take a look. One Stranger Things question that is burning in the minds of fans is what's going to happen to Max Mayfield? Max's emotional journey through season 4 hit fans pretty hard for a number of reasons. Viewers were forced to feel Max's guilt, trauma, and grief as he struggled with his own psychological demons and was very vulnerable. In the Stranger Things season 4 finale, Vecna attacks Max in her school dance memory as Eleven beams in from her pizza kitchen bathtub and uses her powers to battle him. Vecna takes them both back to his dark world and restrains them with his cerebral tentacles. Mike encourages Elle to free herself from the tentacles and sends Vecna flying, but not before he begins his deadly bone-breaking process on Max. In the Creel house's attic, Max wakes up in Lucas's arms, but her sense of safety is short-lived when she realizes she's unable to feel or see anything. Max's death scene is tragic, but viewers really felt that she had won. She had always outrun Vecna before, but at that moment it seemed like all was lost and Vecna won. No one knows for certain if Max will be fine in season 5, but for now she's in her hospital bed with her friends reading Stephen King books to her. What do you think will happen to Max Mayfield? Drop a comment below and tell us your thoughts. Up next is the new film White Noise: The New Stranger Things. Let's find out. Whether or not the 2022 film White Noise is the new Stranger Things remains the subject of much debate. However, after watching the trailer, there's little doubt that the creators of the film want you to think that it is. White Noise reunites Adam Driver, Greta Gerwig, and Noah Baumbach, and the trailer is giving off 1980s sci-fi mystery vibes. The film is based on Don DeLillo's novel of the same name, and like Stranger Things, the overarching goal appears to be to keep kids safe. Adam Driver plays the character Jack, and his wife Babette is played by Greta Gerwig. In the trailer, they're driving with their kids as the world is facing catastrophe as a result of an airborne toxic event. Netflix is marketing White Noise much in the same way they did with Stranger Things. The music is virtually identical, and even the trailer has the same 1980s look and feel. And we're not the only ones who have noticed. Apparently, some keen-eyed fans have noticed as well. So far, Netflix is doing a great job of luring Stranger Things fans to White Noise. Although, to be clear, the book that White Noise is based on is in no way similar to Stranger Things. The story in the book follows Jack, a professor of Hitler studies, who must fight to save his wife Babette and her 4 children and stepchildren from chemicals in his neighborhood after a train crash. Finally, which Stranger Things star decided to get a job this summer? It's hard to believe that Noah Schnapp was only 11 years old when he skyrocketed to fame, thanks to his role on Stranger Things. Not surprisingly, he's now trying to lead a somewhat normal life in order to feel grounded, which can be hard when you're only 17, worth north of $4 million, and have 30 million social media followers. So this summer, Noah decided to get a job as a lifeguard. Working as a lifeguard has not only been a fun experience for the young star overall, but it's given him a source of pride by doing something in the real world. If you're a famous celeb who's on top of the world, nothing can quite bring you back down to reality like a regular, everyday job. Now, like Millie Bobby Brown, Noah plans on attending university business school, and he recently said, "Acting was just kind of repetitive, and I wanted to try something new." Millie is doing the same thing with her schooling. She's kind of learning about other things. I thought it would make more sense to do something different, and business was a pretty clear next thing for me. That's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching.